Hi, I'm Harrison Wyatt. Today I'm here in my local campus Woodland and I'm going to be thinking about the vertical layers and horizontal layers. We can use this language to describe how a woodland is shaped out, whether it's depicted as compact or whether it's quite sparse, and we can think about the types of flora and fauna that are here on site. When we're talking about vertical layers of a woodland, in the UK, these can be depicted into four main parts. First of all, that's the canopy. So that's anything that's above my hand's reach. Then we come down to shrub. So that's any sort of low sort of pioneer trees or maybe shrub life that is growing up, new trees or large bushes, plant life. That's between my reach and my knees. We then move down to field, our lower plants, things like ferns and nettles and other smaller plant life. And then below that, we've got ground, we've got earth. So things like fungi, the things that are living in the soil as well, things like insects and animals that burrow underground. As for the horizontal layers of a woodland, you can almost depict this by taking a bird's eye view of a woodland, sort of thinking about how dense a space is, where there are compact areas where there's lots of plant life and trees, or perhaps where there's a sparse space, maybe even a glade or an opening. When thinking about both of these vertical and horizontal layers, we also want to be considering how each of them impact one another and what perhaps plants or animals live between multiple layers. Here, my local woodland in majority is roughly about 90% broadleaf, which means seasonally it's really changeable. We've got plenty of sycamore, we've got some ash, some hazel, and we do also have some rowan as well, and some holly. Further down the woodland though, we do have some large pine trees. I don't know whether you can see up behind me just over there, just bordering our lands, there are a few large pine conifer trees as well, which do impact the edges of our woodland. Due to the seasonable changing nature of our broadleaf woodland, it makes it fantastic for kids to come down at different times of the year and see how ranges in leaf cover, light and shade can change the different layers of our woodland and space as well. As I move down here closer to our stream that runs down the valley of our little woodland, we have a glade, an opening in those top canopy trees. This is due to a couple of reasons. First of all, its proximity to the stream itself, but there's also some evidence that prior to me starting working here, there were some large trees that were chopped down. What this has enabled is some scrub growth. We've got plenty of nettles and thistles that are growing in sort of the scrub land here behind me, but also it means we've got some pioneer trees. We've got some new saplings that have really shot up and taken that chance, getting maximum sunlight from this opening. So we do have some pioneer rowan just behind me here, which is fantastic to see. Some things that can influence the spacing and density of a woodland are things like weather, its location, how exposed the trees are, and also the types of trees that sort of bounder or border the woodland itself. How defensive are they of the plant life that's within the woodland itself? Also, whether it's left to be wild or whether it's maintained to an extent. Is it owned land or private land, or is it shared land that's perhaps used for multiple reasons, maybe even agriculture or farming? We can also think about whether something is planted or self-set. This woodland itself is self-set. It's very natural, and there's an abundance of lots of different types of plant life and tree life, and it's erratic. It is not set in any form or pattern. Things are growing where they manage to grow, and they are all fighting for sunlight. In comparison, here in Mac Forest, which is a local managed conifer woodland, everything is lined and regimented. You can see as I turn around here that there are so many conifer trees and they're all in some set order. Effectively, they are being sort of managed to cultivate as much wood as possible. And I'll try and head up the footpath and try and get some shots that show the different sort of areas of woodland that are being periodically felled and utilized for their wood. So you can see up behind me the rows and rows of trees that are still growing, obviously in that section there. But down below me here is what's been felled in the last couple of years. You can still see the evidence of the tree stumps that are rotting away and nourishing the ground and helping these new trees that have been planted to grow. Looking out on the horizon as well, it's great to see these different sections, and you can try and analyze and look where it is that they're working and felling this year. In this space, it's really fascinating thinking about those vertical layers as well. In comparison to my school woodland, here there really isn't much lower level plant life because of those acidic needles that are dropped all year round. And of course, the shade that's provided by the canopy of these conifer trees consistently. On the other hand, there are going to be plenty of insects that are inhabiting this space, especially due to the felled trees which are left to decay and rot, which makes a fantastic habitat. Another interesting feature to notice is that of the outermost trees in each of these patches of conifer woodland have their outer branches still full of needles and providing cover for the inner forest, whereas here centrally there's no access to light, so there's no need for them until those trees get up nice and tall. So you can see that the majority of the trunks within the heart of this woodland are relatively bare. They've dropped most of those initial branches as the tree has grown up and aged. That purposeful planting in close proximity requires the trees to have expedited growth. They are racing upwards to get to that sunlight, which provides in turn more wood.